Welcome grade 9s to your unit on space exploration. In this unit, we are going to be looking at planets, objects in our solar system, how do stars form, telescopes, rockets, and living in space. But before we get into all that, why are we learning about space? Well, we're going to first look at early views of the cosmos. People, doesn't matter which nationality you are or which background you have, people have always been curious about space. Ever since we could look up and gaze upon the stars, it has sparked curiosity amongst all people all over the world. So first let's look at the First Nations people of the Pacific Northwest. The First Nations people of the Pacific Northwest had their own theory of how these stars came to be and why they were there. In their theory, there were stone ribs holding up a pole that held up a blanket that covered the night sky with stars. So next we're going to look at the Egyptians at around 2700 BC. The ancient Egyptians built those enormous pyramids which took a great amount of effort to get closer to the heavens, and they were built in position to certain stars, which shows how even to the ancient Egyptians these stars were of great importance. Now we're going to go back 3,500 years ago with the ancient Celts. Now the ancient Celts were able to use this famous monument of Stonehenge to help them mark the summer solstice, which is the longest day, and the winter solstice, which is the shortest day. So now we're going to go back to the Americas and have a look at the Mayans. And the Mayans, at around 1000 AD, built this majestical figure called Chichen Itza. Now, Chichen Itza was built so they could use the sky to measure the equinox. What is the equinox, you might ask? The equinox is when our days and nights are of equal time. So the days are equal in length as the nights. This happens in 2 times of the year. This happens in March and September. Now we're going to look 2,000 years ago, so even before the building of Chichen Itza, and we're going to look at Aristotle. Now Aristotle proposed the geocentric model of the universe. Geocentric meaning that the Earth was the center of the universe. Then in 1530 AD came Copernicus. Copernicus proposed the heliocentric model of the universe. So helio meaning sun and centric meaning center, so the sun was the center. After Copernicus came Galileo Galilei in the 1600s. Now Galileo Galilei developed a telescope with enough power to see Jupiter's moons. Now this became very important as it proved the heliocentric model and that the Earth wasn't the center of the Earth, as Jupiter itself had its own moons. And now that we had Galileo's telescope with the moons of Jupiter, Johannes Kepler was able to fine-tune the heliocentric model by saying that the planets orbit in ellipses and not circles. So this is a key point you must know. You must know the difference between the heliocentric and geocentric models of the solar system. So in the heliocentric model, the sun is the center of the universe and the planets orbit around the sun. The geocentric model is where Earth is the center and the other planets go around Earth. So right here, to this side of the screen, we have the heliocentric. And on the right side here, we're going to have the geocentric, where Earth is the center and the sun and all the planets orbit Earth. And on this side here, we have the sun the center and all the planets orbit the sun. This is the heliocentric, and this one here is the geocentric. So why is this important? With Aristotle's geocentric model, it appeared some of the planets would move backwards in the sky. It worked for predicting the phases of the moon only. It did not work for Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, as sometimes they appeared to be moving backwards. So currently we use Copernicus' heliocentric model, which explains Kepler's ideas that orbits around the sun are ellipses. This works for predicting all movements within our solar system. Remember, the sun is not the center of the universe. It is the center of our solar system.